Hi folks, it's John from lastchanceautorestore.com. I'm standing under the 1966 Oldsmobile Delta 88 Convertible. We shared with you in earlier videos where obviously we lifted the body, it's on the hoist now, lifted the body off of the frame. The frame required extensive restructuring in terms of structure strength and steel. And then we repaired the frame, welded all the new pieces in. We applied a two-part black epoxy to seal all of the work that we did on the frame. So now our focus is on the body. So with it on the hoist, there's quite a bit of work that's happened to this point, and this is an important step in terms of the preparation. So as we come under this car, you can see where we still left the gas tank here. We removed all of the undercoating and residue and all kinds of spray on different product to expose things like that, which I think the camera can pick up. So we've got some rust sections along the back where the frame sat on. So this is the back passenger section of the Delta 88. Now as we come forward, this is the area that's opened up for the rear axle, rear diff assembly, and the rear wheel. And what we've done is basically scraped off all of the residue and undercoating. So you can see it's very, very clean and clear. You can see there's a hint in the back part of a little bit of green in that center section, and that's a two-part epoxy that the factory used to use back in '66. And then as we come towards the rear seat area and rear floor area, you can see a lot of surface rust, but then it's good that we scraped all this and cleaned it off. It doesn't look like much, but it's a lot of work to get all the stuff off to this bare metal, because now it exposes things like this, where you can see where the bracket is, where it meets. There's a hole through there where my pen is. So hopefully the lighting isn't very good underneath this hoist, but you can see we've got some corrosion or some holes through there, and it's not as bad on this side. But then as we start going towards the front of the vehicle, now we're into the cross bracing of the floor, basically underneath the rear seat. And then you see more rust here. And this is really common in the full-size GM cars, where you have the rail coming across where the floor meets the rails. They rust along there. They use like a goop and a seam sealer, and it collects moisture. Very common in a convertible because of the top. Now as we come a little more forward, we're almost in the middle of the vehicle. And I think if the camera person, if I get my fat head out of the way, you can see the corrosion gets worse. So we have our rail. Here's one of our body mounts to the frame. This is pretty snug to the frame when the body's on, and you can see I can put my pen through the rusted holes here. There's more holes here and all the way across. And then as I move over, I'll try and get out of the way here, you can see all along this rail we've got holes in terms of lack of strength and support. So that's on the driver's side. Now something that I'm really happy with is the center tunnel and the main floor pans. You can see how solid they are. So we use different devices and equipment to remove all of the thick tar and caulking and all that sort of product. And once we removed it all, we're able to expose the majority of the metal being quite strong. And it's pretty impressive that at the very bottom of it we have that green, which is that epoxy type of sealant from the factory. So a decent shape in most sections, but then we've got a lot of holes in the other areas. This is the worst section here, and this is the driver's side, and this is where most of the corrosion was when it was on the frame. So that's your main mounting point in the driver front corner, kind of around your toe on your left side where the high beam, low beam would be. And you can see the bracket, the floor pan, the cross brace, and all the reinforcement pieces are all rotted. So that's going to require quite a bit of work. And then the floor pan had some tin patches over top, and there's corrosion all the way along. One thing that you can't pick up, I guess a little bit here, but there's numerous pinholes, and my pen will go through a great number of spots in the front driver's side floor pan. So we're able to find a supplier who is going to provide us with a front driver floor The rest of these pieces we need to make. So it's the next step. This is an important step in the process because we have to make sure, because the product that was on the floor on this car, both inside and out, were highly flammable. So the mistake that some people make is when they start doing fabrication, even the grinding, the sparks, and it's highly flammable, extremely dangerous. Same thing as dealing with the fuel tank. Now, we don't have a whole lot of fabrication to do in this back section, but we have special blankets that we'll use if we are going to be working close to the fuel tank. But as we get in the passenger compartment, which most of the work is going to be between the back seat and the front firewall, we're in safer shape now, and especially now that we have all this highly flammable undercoating off. The whole interior is out of it. We've removed all the tar and all the brush-on tar from previous poor repairs, so now we don't have a fire hazard, so we can continue on the preparation and the proper welding and repair work. So as the progress continues on the metal fabrication work, we'll shoot another video to share with you the patches and how we went ahead and did it. Very, very common. This is a 66 Delta 88, so a lot of the full-size cars in the full Chev, Buick Olds lines, they shared the frames. Most of the body panels are the same, and these corrosion areas are very common. Now, this being a Canadian car, it's in probably a lot better shape than most that we've seen, but it's rusted in crucial areas, letting fumes, exhaust fumes from the car crawling up inside the cabin, and then we have obviously unsafe sections near the front where it fastens to the frame. So now that the frame is fixed, we'll make sure that the body is just as safe. So brief update, this is the 66 Oldsmobile Delta 88 convertible. I thank you for watching. I'm John from lastchanceautorestore.com.